The air was thick, heavy, the kind of wet heat that just sticks to your skin in Guadalajara. It was February 7, 1985. DEA agent Enrique Kiki Camarena walked out of the American consulate. He was meeting his wife for lunch. A simple plan on a simple day. But honestly, the day was not simple, and Kiki would never make it to lunch. An unmarked car screeched to a halt. Men with guns jumped out. They weren't police. Not the real kind, anyway. They were cops on the cartel's payroll. They shoved Kiki into the car. The doors slammed shut. The car sped away, disappearing into the chaotic city traffic. This wasn't just a kidnapping, it was a message, a declaration of war. The men who took Kiki were soldiers for the Guadalajara cartel, a new kind of criminal organization led by men like Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, Ernesto Fonseca Carrillo, Rafael Caro Quintero. In Washington, D.C., the news of Kiki's abduction landed like a bomb. There was shock, quickly replaced by a cold, hard fury. The United States government operated on a simple principle. You do not mess with our agents. The DEA, the FBI, the White House. They all believed the cartel had made a fatal mistake. The assumption? A full-court press would bring the cartel to its knees, close the borders, ground flights, turn up the political heat on Mexico until they coughed up Kiki and the men who took him. American law enforcement saw the cartels as gangs, thugs, disorganized, who would scatter under pressure. They failed to grasp the true nature of their enemy. The Guadalajara cartel was a parallel state with intelligence networks and security forces. Felix Gallardo wasn't just a drug lord, he was a CEO presiding over a multinational enterprise. He controlled shipping routes, production facilities, and distribution chains. He paid off governors and generals. The American strategy: treat it as a law enforcement problem, send agents, gather intelligence, indict, demand extradition. So the US launched Operation Leyenda, the largest homicide investigation in DEA history. Agents flooded into Mexico driven by rage and a thirst for justice. The cartel's response was not to hide or crumble, it doubled down, to show how deep their power ran. While the US publicly shamed Mexico and shut borders, the cartel conducted its own brutal investigation. 881 Lope de Vega, Guadalajara. For more than 30 hours he was tortured. They broke his bones, they drilled a hole in his head. They wanted names, they wanted to know what the DEA knew, who had betrayed them. A doctor injected Kiki with drugs to keep him conscious so the torture could continue. The cruelty was systematic, calculated, a business decision by men like Rafael Caro Quintero who blamed Kiki for Rancho Buffalo. They needed to plug the leak, to send a chilling message to Americans and to Mexicans. They did it while the US government watched. The ultimate display of impunity. The investigation stalled, evidence disappeared, witnesses vanished. Police on the cartel's payroll fed information to Felix Gallardo. It was a house of mirrors. American agents were lost inside, every lead a dead end. A month later, bodies were found dumped by the road. Kiki Camarena and Alfredo Zavala Avalar. They had been tortured, killed, discarded like trash. The discovery of Kiki's body changed everything. Operation Leyenda shifted into a more aggressive phase. They would hunt every person involved, no matter where or how long it took. The gloves were off. The rules of engagement were rewritten. American agents, frustrated by corruption, began working outside official channels. Informants, bounty hunters, any means necessary. The line between lawman and outlaw began to blur. The United States did eventually get its men. One by one, Guadalajara cartel leaders were captured. Ernesto Fonseca Carrillo, arrested 1985. Rafael Caro Quintero, arrested 1985. But their trials were mired in corruption. Felix Gallardo evaded capture for years, protected by his network. He was arrested in 1989, but even behind bars, influence remained. Arrests were victories, but hollow. The cost for agents on the ground was immense. Many were never the same. The case consumed lives for years. They navigated a treacherous landscape where a friendly official could be a cartel spy. Safe houses became traps. The hunt was a long, dark journey. They had won battles, but the war continued. The fall of the Guadalajara cartel did not end the drug trade. It atomized it. The story of Kiki Camarena and the Guadalajara cartel is a brutal lesson in the realities of the drug war. Cartels are sophisticated transnational corporations with armies, intelligence, and political influence. They can corrupt institutions, turning police and government into tools for their enterprise. Cartels thrive where the state is weak, poverty is rampant, and corruption is a way of life. They offer jobs, violent ones, They provide a twisted order where the official government provides none. As long as demand in the United States persists, and opportunity is scarce in the South, the cartels have a business model. The DEA cut off the head of the snake, and many more grew. The old cartel splintered into the Sinaloa cartel, the Tijuana cartel, the Juarez cartel. Today's groups are more ruthless and more sophisticated. Encrypted comms, tunnels, innovation. They diversified into human trafficking, fuel theft, extortion, becoming mafia states. The fight continues. New generations of investigators take up the work. Kiki Camarena's sacrifice brought down powerful men, but it didn't break the system. Until demand, poverty, and corruption are addressed, the war will remain a grim, bloody, and perhaps unwinnable fight.